Happy day students, welcome to San Academy Pallikaranai Class 9 Biology, Chapter 6 Tissues, Animal Tissue. And in this session we are going to discuss about muscular tissue and nervous tissues. So muscular tissues, as we all know, muscles which help us to move the body parts, and the muscular tissue consists of elongated cells also called muscle fibers, and this tissue is responsible for the movement in our body. That is, muscular tissues are made up of cells as well as fibers, and these cells are elongated and large in size, and hence they are also called as muscle fibers. And muscular tissue constitutes all the muscles of the body of an animal, and muscle cells are typically arranged in parallel arrangement, allowing them to work together effectively. And these muscles contain a special protein called contractile protein, which helps in contracting and relaxing movements to happen smoothly. On the basis of their location, structure and function, there are following three types of muscle fibers or muscle tissues. They are striated muscles, which are stripped, skeletal or voluntary muscles, and the second is smooth muscles. They are unstriated, and they are involuntary muscles. Okay, what is the difference between voluntary and involuntary muscles? Voluntary muscles are those muscles whose movement can be controlled by us, whereas involuntary muscles are those muscles whose movement cannot be controlled by us. And the third type is cardiac muscle. Now let us see in detail about striated muscles or skeletal muscles or voluntary muscles. We know that we can move some muscles by conscious will. That is, when we want to move certain muscles, we are able to do that, and those muscles are present in our limbs, moves when we want them to, and we can stop them when we decide to stop it. Such muscles are actually called as voluntary muscles, and these muscles are also called as skeletal muscles, as they are mostly attached to the bones and helps in the body movement. Under light microscope, when these muscles are viewed, we can see alternative light and dark bands or striations, and when stained properly, that is, we can see this light and dark band of striation only when we are going to stain this voluntary muscles properly. And we have already discussed about what is a stain when we were discussing the lesson chapter 5, the fundamental unit of life. And the cells of these tissues are quite long, and they are cylindrical, and they are unbranched. That is, they do not have any branches, but they have many number of nucleus, and hence it is called as multinucleate. And I have shown you the diagram of the striated muscles, where you can see the alternative pattern, which is called as striation, and you can see some dark spots which are called as nuclei. And now coming to the next type of the muscles. For example, the movement of food in your alimentary canal is causing because of your muscles in your alimentary canal. Can you ever try to stop the movement of that food? No. As well as contraction and relaxation of blood vessels are also involuntary movements. That is, we cannot stop the functioning of blood vessels, so we cannot really start them or stop them simply by wanting to do so. And those type of muscles which cannot be controlled by us consciously are called as involuntary muscles. Otherwise, they are also called as smooth muscles, and they are found in the iris of eyes, in ureters, and in the bronchi of lungs. And the cells that are making up these smooth muscles are very long, and they are spindle shaped and possess a single nucleus. Here you can see the spindle shaped of muscles arranged one over the other, and each has only a one dark spot in the center, which is the nucleus, and hence we can say it is uninucleate, spindle shaped, and cells are very long. Coming to the third type of muscle, which is cardiac muscle, and this is also an involuntary muscle, and this is found exclusively in the heart, and they play an important role in the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of the heart muscles throughout our life. And the cells that are making up the cardiac muscles are cylindrical, branched, and they also have only one nucleus, and hence they are called uninucleate. And now let us discuss about the last type of animal tissue, which is nervous tissue. A tissue which is specialized to transit or transmit message in our body is nervous tissue. Actually, all cells possess the ability to respond to stimuli. However, the cells of nervous tissue are highly specialized for being stimulated and then transmitting the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another. That is the main function of this tissues are, that is the main function of the nervous tissue is to transmit the signals in a very fast manner from one place to another within the body. And your brain, spinal cord and nerves are made up of this type of nervous tissue, and this nervous tissue consists of an highly specialized unit cells called nerve cell or neuron. That is, the nervous tissue are made up of a type of cell called neuron, and these cells are specialized for conducting the impulse over a great distance at a greater speed. That is, these cells only carry the message from one part of the body to the other part of the body at a great speed. And this neuron actually consists of a cell body, a hexagonal shaped body on the top, which is called as cyton or soma, and it has a central nucleus and cytoplasm. And from this soma or cyton you can see hair like structures that are arise, which are called dendrites. And to the end of the stoma or cyton, to one end, you can see a long process that is being developed, which is called as axon. That is, dendrons further branched out to form dendrites. From the distal part of cyton arises a very long process called axons. So, that is one dendron. A particular dendron gets further branched out in order to form dendrites. And from one end of your cyton, you can see a long stem-like structure or a long tube-like structures which are branched, and they are called axons. And to the end of the axons, you will be having the nerve endings which will be fixed to the body parts in order to transmit the signals. The main functions are: the nerve tissue is responsible for reception and transmission of information between different parts of the body. That is, it is only responsible for transferring the information from different parts of the body to the brain as well as to the spinal cord. And second, the dendrites receives impulse and axon takes impulse away from the cell body. That is, your dendrites are going to receive the signals and it is going to travel or transmitted only through the axon away from the cell body. That is the cell soma of the neuron. Thank you, students.